Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Notch vs Herobrine statue. By the way, just in case you have any more building related needs, feel free to not only check out the description below in which I'll house all of my tutorial playlists, but also feel free to check out the card system in which I'll be leaving more specific things that you guys will really want to check out. If you like this statue, then you can find plenty more like it in the card system. Moving on, if you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. You will need some block of diamond, then grab some cyan stained clay, grab white stained clay, some brown stained clay, grab black stained clay, then flip over and grab yourself some black wool, some white wool, some dark blue, and finally guys, grab yourself some cyan wool. And unfortunately for us, we are going to need some more colours later on, and I might have even missed a few that we'll need more immediately, but hey, welcome to my tutorials. Once you have each one of those, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here. You're going to want to kick off your statue with a row of 4 cyan stained clay coming directly up from the ground. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to take that 4th block and go right of it by 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then connect that 7th block all the way down to the ground. So this is our starting point, and I should tell you guys how this is going to be positioned. So this is like the base of Herobrine's feet, and I'm going to be building him going that way, and he's going to be laying down with his arms out. So whichever way you want the statue to be, Herobrine, like I said, this is the base of the statue, and most of it is going to be that way with Notch stood on the right there. So just to let you guys know that. Once you've got your first row of cyan taken care of, what you then want to do, coming this way, the direction you want the statue to be, you're going to want to add an additional layer of cyan stained clay just behind it, like this. Easy. What you then want to do is take out your dark blue wool and take each one of these top 2 corners and extend those corners coming towards us each by 10. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like so. Then connect each one of those 10th blocks together and also connect them down to the ground as well. So you just want to have a shape which should look like this. Now, what do you want to do next? So, looking down on it like this, you want to take out your cyan wool, and you're going to want to, on top of, or coming towards us from this block, you guys can see this block, do a cyan wool, then do another, so do 2 cyan wool coming out, and then go right by 1 with your cyan. And what you can then do is, with your dark blue, you can fill in those 2 other rows, those 2 additional rows with the cyan in them, fill them in with dark blue coming towards us. What we then want to do is take out our cyan wool again, and we then want to do 8 rows of cyan coming towards us. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't really have to do it from both sides. I just want to make sure that that count was right. And since both of the lengths of the rows, since they're both in the same place, I can assume that I did get that right and I did get 8. It's very important for us to get this right from the get-go. I really don't want to have to be smashing things and rebuilding things. So you want to have 8 solid rows of cyan like this. What you then want to do for the next row coming towards you, you want to place 2 white stained clay in the center of the row, and then you want to do cyan all the way around it. For the next row, and this is going to be the final row of the torso, do 4 white stained clay in the center of the row, and then do cyan all the way around it, like so. What you can then do, guys, is you can connect those end cyan wool blocks, connect them down to the ground to kind of like section off a shape. So now we kind of have like a rectangular shape, like so. We're now going to do the arms. So Herobrine's arms, you guys can obviously guess the position of these. They start all the way at the top 2 corners. So starting with this right arm first of all, this same block that we just connected down to the ground, take this and extend it, coming out by 4 with your cyan. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then connect that down to the ground, but you also want to take that 4th block and come towards the bottom of the body by 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. Then connect that back to the statue and also connect it down to the ground, like so. Then take out your white stained clay and take each one of these two end corner blocks and extend them, coming out of the statue each by 8 with your white stained clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we want to do the same with the other row. I know that that's right, so I'm just going to extend it out, connect it together, and also connect it down to the ground. So you just want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this. Not only do you want to do this on this side of the statue, but you also want to do the same thing on the opposite side of the statue. So on the opposite side here, we want to take this corner block, we want to extend it out by 4, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to go right by 3, connect it back to the statue, connect those two blocks down to the ground like so. Take out the white stained clay, take the top two corner blocks that we have right here, extend them out each by 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then connect those two 8th blocks together and also connect them down to the ground, like this. So, just to show you guys what we want to have something which should look a little bit like this, and this is just the kind of like outline of Herobrine, but we've pretty much completed this. The only thing that we have to do now is Herobrine's head. So, once you've reached this point right here, you now want to come all the way up to the top of your statue, so all the way where the head's supposed to be, and starting from this left-hand bottom cyan wall block that we can see that connects to the ground, so it's probably easier if we take this sort of view, like a sideways view, go right of this cyan by 1 with your white stained clay, then 1 with your black stained clay, go up by 1 with the black stained clay, do an upright diagonal, go right 1, do an upright diagonal, go up 1, do an upright diagonal, then go right 2, then connect that block all the way down to the ground like so. And once you've done that shape on the, I guess this is the right hand side of the head, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it's the left-hand side of a Herobrine's actual head, but for the statue, this is the right side. Once you've done that on that side, you want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So we're now on this opposite side, starting from going left of this cyan, we want to do 1 white stained clay, 1 black stained clay, go up 1, do an up left diagonal, left 1, up left diagonal, up 1, up left diagonal, left 2, then connect that block all the way down to the ground, like so. And what you can do is you can connect that second block that we've just connected down to the ground, you can connect it all the way to the other side as well. So you can see that we've kind of got like Herobrine's hair taken care of, and we'll be filling that in a little later on. What we now have to do is Herobrine's face. So take out the white stained clay. At the top of the torso here, where we place the last row of the torso, you want to place a row of 8 white stained clay coming up from the torso, like this, so a row of 8 white stained clay. Then coming towards you, an additional row of 8 white stained clay. Then for the next row, going from left to right, do this sequence of blocks. Do 2 white stained clay, 4 black stained clay, 2 white stained clay, like that. Then, for the next row, and it's probably going to be easier to build it from this way, isn't it, coming from this perspective. So for the next row, behind it, going from left to right, do 2 white stained clay, 1 black stained clay, 2 white, 1 black, 2 white. For the next row, do 3 white stained clay, 2 black stained clay, 3 white stained clay. For the next row, do 1 white stained clay, 2 white wool, 2 white stained clay, 2 white wool, 1 white stained clay. Then for the next row, do an entire row of white stained clay. For the next row, since we already have the black stained clay here, you want to do another row of white stained clay like this. And then to finish off the head, you just want to fill in that top row with black stained clay. So just to give you guys a look at what this should look like, it should look exactly like this. And there should be 8 rows there, and it doesn't look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there is 8 rows. It didn't look like it, but that is what you want to have for Herobrine's head. And that is Herobrine pretty much complete, guys. Once we've reached this point right here, this is all we want to do now. We pretty much just want to, and we have this color-coded for us, we want to fill the sections that are just like dark blue. We want to fill in with dark blue, like you can see the bottom of the legs, how it has like a dark blue outline. Fill that section in with dark blue. not only will you have to fill the top of the legs in, but we'll also have to do the side of the legs as well, because I don't believe that we filled any of the side of the statue in. No, you can see that we've got to fill the side of the legs in with dark blue as well. We've got quite a few rows. This might take some time, actually. This might take quite a bit. We've got to fill the bottom of the feet in with cyan stained clay, so we've just got to fill the bottom of the feet in with cyan stained clay. We don't have to do the sides. We want to fill the opposite side of the legs in with dark blue wool as well, so just fill this in with dark blue wool like so. What we then want to do as well, you can see where we have like these 2 rows of cyan stained clay, but mostly dark blue wool. We want to come that far up the side with the dark blue as well. We want to do 2 additional rows of dark blue, or 2 additional rows of dark blue coming up the side there. And we also want to do the same thing on the other side, so it'll be 1, 2, and then we just want to fill those in. Then the rest of that, the rest of the shirt area is going to be cyan, and we don't have to fill all the way up just underneath the arm here. We can just, you only have to fill in how much is exposed. You don't have to like fill in everything. We're now just filling the shirt in with cyan. I mean, it's all pretty easy to figure out what you have to do, other than maybe the bit that I just showed you where you have to like make the trousers come up a little bit further. The reason for that is like that's Herobrine's shirt, just like Steve, it's tucked out a little bit, so it actually folds over the front but it doesn't come under the sides, just according to the actual skin itself. I mean, you can fill it in with whatever colour you want, of course, but we are now just filling in the opposite part of the shirt, the opposite side of the shirt. Then we'll be filling in the arms, and then we'll do the head. So that's the shirt filled in. Is that the shirt completely filled in? Yeah, it is. So now we're going to fill in the arms, then the head. This shouldn't be too taxing. No, it won't. And once Herobrine, I don't know what I was just about to call him, but it wasn't going to be Herobrine. Once Herobrine has been completely filled in, the next stage of this is going to be for us to place Notch on him. And Notch is actually relatively easy all by himself, but he might be a little bit harder to explain. I've already moved on to Herobrine's head. It's easy to see what sections you have to fill in with. Well, obviously, like the front part of the head, everything above the black stained clay, you fill in with white stained clay, and this section at the back of the head where his hair is, you obviously just fill that in with black stained clay. So, I mean, like I said, everything's pretty obvious what colours you've got to fill in where. I mean, if you guys have ever built like a Steve statue or a Herobrine statue or any one of the two, I mean, you guys will know how he looks, and I'm sure you know how he looks anyway. Steve's like one of the most recognizable characters in Minecraft, so we've just got to fill him in. I believe we have the arm to do as well. Yep, we do. And whilst Notch isn't actually stood on him, he kind of looks relaxed, doesn't he? He kind of looks like he's having a bit of a sleep. I could actually put like Herobrine in a bed. Oh, wow. Maybe I should do a statue where it's like Steve sleeping in a bed. Would that be a cool statue? And I could have like a dog curled up at the base of the... I might have just given myself another statue idea. So, doesn't it kind of look like Herobrine's just kind of like taking a nap in a meadow? Like, I could just make some big giant flower statues and he'd just look really nice and happy. But unfortunately, that's not how the statue pans out. So, once you've got Herobrine lying down, guys, this is what you want to do next. It's now time for us to add Notch. So, Notch is on the right-hand side here, the right-hand side of Herobrine, and his foot is positioned like this. So just underneath like Herobrine's armpit, you want to be on this block, and you want to just come in to the left by 1. So on top of this block, you want to do 4 black wool coming up, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to go right of it towards the bottom of Steve by 3, that's 1, 2, 3. And then connect that down to the body. Then come this way, so we're now on the outer side of this, and you want to take each one of the top 2 corners of this block, extend them towards you by 3. That's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Connect them together, and then go down from each one of those third blocks by 3. That's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Connect them together again. Whoops. Connect them together again, and then, well, literally just like connect all of them together, like all the way at the base. So you just want to kind of have like a black square like this. That's exactly what you want to have, guys. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So on the front of the black square, so closest to the actual body of Herobrine, you want to do 2 rows of cyan stained clay coming up from this row, so that's 1 and 2 rows of cyan stained clay. then you want to, and let me get a side view image. Oh, there we go. So starting from this corner block here, this left-hand side corner block, you want to do 3. No, you want to do 2 up left diagonals. So that's 1, 2. Then go left by 3. That's 1, 2, 3. You then want to go down 1 and do 2 bottom right diagonals. That's 1 and 2. Like that. Not only do you want to do this on the left-hand side here, but you want to do this on the opposite side. So on the opposite side, we want to take this block, do 2 upper right diagonals. That's 1, 2. Go right by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then go down 1. Then do 2 bottom left diagonals. And that should connect all the way down to the leg. And that is just like Steve's leg and knee, kind of like bent down on Herobrine. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the rest of the statue. That's like one of the harder parts of Notch. So, what we now want to do, guys, is we want to come all the way down to the bottom side of Herobrine. So we want to come, we're still on the same side, but we want to come down to the bottom. So you can see where this leg is. Well, the next leg is positioned just to the left of it, and it is 4 blocks long, so it'll be placed 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And it is 4 blocks up, or 3 blocks. It's 4 blocks in total, so we want to go up by 3. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. We then want to take these 3 blocks, connect them together at the top. We then want to take each one of the 4 corners, extend them back by 3 each. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then connect each one of those 4 blocks together, going all the way around. So we just want to have like a square shape. So it's the same shape as Notch's other foot. What we then want to do is take out the cyan stained clay, and we want to go up on top of each one of those 4 corner blocks by 8 with the cyan stained clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It should come up as high as the other knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't really have to count it out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., etc., until you reach the top. And you then just want to connect each one of those blocks together like this. And you might be able to see that, like where we have the knee on that side, you can actually connect those corner blocks together. So you can make like a much more recognizable shape. You can actually make a shape that can be like filled in and stuff. So you can see that they're Notch's legs. You can see how he's poised. He's kind of like one foot is off Herobrine, the other foot's kind of like triumphantly stood on him. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So, starting from the top of the legs, you're on the front and you want to be on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side here, you want to place 2 brown stained clay coming up. That's 1, 2, and then you want to go left by 1. You can then fill the rest of those 2 rows in with cyan stained clay. So those first 2 rows, just got those 3 brown, then cyan stained clay everywhere else. Take out your brown stained clay. You want to do 10 solid rows of brown stained clay on top of these rows. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 10 rows, I'm just turning this into a shape. I'm just going to turn this into a brown shape like so. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And what we can then do, guys, once you have those 10 rows, you can fill them in, you can do it now, you can do it later, up to you. Once you have those 10 rows, you then want to come up behind here. You want to take each one of the top 2 corners, extend them coming back each by 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Connect them together, and then connect them all the way down to the top of the legs. So you just want to connect them to the top of the legs, and you just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And you might notice that the trousers on the back are a little bit longer or a little bit shorter than the trousers on the front. Don't worry, guys, that's exactly how it's supposed to look. That is exactly how it's supposed to be. Don't worry about that. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next, guys. So, what we can now do is Notch's head. So come all the way to the front of your statue and come all the way up to the top of Notch's torso. Take out your white stained clay and add a row of 8 white stained clay on top of that top row of the torso. You then want to, with your white stained clay again, do an additional layer of white stained clay, again coming towards you. You then, for the next row going from left to right, want to do this. Do 1 white stained clay, 6 black wool, 1 white stained clay. Then, for the next row, repeat the previous row. So whatever you did for the previous row, do the same thing for that row. Perfect. Now, for the next row, do 1 white stained clay, 1 black wool, 4 white wool, 1 black wool, 1 white stained clay. For the next row, do 2 white stained clay, 4 black wool, 2 white stained clay. For the next row, do an entire row of white stained clay. For the next row, do 1 white clay, 1 black wool, 4 white clay, 1 black wool, 1 white clay. Then make the next 2 rows white stained clay, so that would be 1 and 2 directly on top. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this, and that is Notch's head, or at least that's his face. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So come all the way around to the back of the head. Take this first initial row of white stained clay and extend it over the back of Notch's torso until it, or his back I guess, whatever, it's still part of his torso. Extend it all the way back over the back of the statue until it overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows. Like that. What you can then do, take the back 2 corners of the head, raise them up until they are equal height with the front of the head, also connect them together, and what you essentially want to turn Notch's head into is a nice big giant white stained clay cube. So you just want to have something which should look like this. Once you've got that taken care of, all we have to do now is kind of like do a paint by numbers sort of thing. So now we're just going to fill in the statue a little bit. So we're going to fill the feet in with black. Pretty obvious because the rest of the feet are black, like the outline of the feet are black. Fill the feet in with black. Fill his trousers in with cyan stained clay, and again, you guys know how to fill him in. I'm sure that you guys know what Notch looks like, or at least what this base skin looks like. Fill that in with whatever material surrounds it. So like if it's made out of cyan stained clay, if the shape's made out of cyan stained clay, then obviously fill that in with cyan stained clay. If it's brown clay, do brown clay. You guys already know this, you guys have already figured that out, and we've just got to, starting from the bottom of the statue, we're just going to completely fill this in. What do we have to do after this has been filled in? Well, we have to give Notch arms. Notch doesn't currently have any arms, which is really impressive. I don't know how he managed to kill or beat Herobrine. Herobrine's not dead, he's just stunned. I don't know how he managed to stun Herobrine without any limbs, or any arms at the very least. So maybe he just kicked him to death. Maybe that's what happened. And again, he's not dead. I don't know why I keep insinuating that Herobrine's dead. He's not. He's survived. He's still alive. Although you could make it so that he's dead if you wanted to. You could add some like red wool on top of his chest and what have you. But I didn't really want to do that. I did originally have it so that like Notch was stood over him. He was poised exactly like this. But I did add some red wool to his chest. It was a little too gory, to be honest. I didn't like it. So you can add it if you like. But I prefer it kind of like this, like not just kind of like bested him. He's not killed Herobrine or anything. I like to imagine they're friends. I like to imagine they're rivals, kind of like Gary and Ash from Pokemon. But you know, whichever way you want to do the statue, you could have him killing Herobrine if you wanted to. It's up to you. But we just got to replace that cyan stained clay that I knocked out. Now we've just got to fill in the head, and then we also... Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot this. Notch also has a beard. It's a little bit of a beard all the way at the top of his chest. We're going to be adding that as well before we move on to the next bit, which is going to be the arms and the sword. Just so that I don't forget it. Basically, just so that I don't forget. We're going to add that before anything else, because otherwise I could fully do this statue, I could fully complete it, and then like I could say my outro and all of that stuff, and it'd be like, oh, god damn it, I forgot the head. Or forgot the beard, I should say. I'm probably not going to forget the head. The beard I might forget, but if I leave Notch or Herobrine without a head, probably gonna notice, and you guys might as well. Although, if it was Herobrine without a head, it might make more sense. I mean, Notch is stood over him with a sword, so that's a thing. Oh god, I just thought of an even gorier version. I could have Notch like holding Herobrine. Anyway, so that is what you want to have for Notch so far. You can see he's without arms and he's without a little scraggly beard all the way down his chest. So once you've reached this point right here, you now want to come all the way up to the front top of the torso, and in front of the 4 middle blocks at the top of the torso, do a row of 4 black wool. Underneath that row of 4, do a row of 2. That is just Notch's little beard, makes it look a little bit better, and well, it's more factual as well, because he does have one. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So, come to the top right-hand side of the torso now. We're looking for this block. Go right at this block by 4 with your brown clay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to do 2 rows of brown underneath this, so that'll be 1 and 2 rows. We then, starting from the left-hand side, want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 1 brown clay, 1 white clay, 1 brown, 1 white. What you then want to do is add 8 rows of white stained clay coming down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we just have to fill those rows in. So 8 rows of white stained clay coming down. So once you've done this on the front of your statue, perfecto, you want to do the exact same thing on the back of the statue. So we're now on the back, and we're literally doing the exact same thing, guys. So I'm not going to give you guys any instructions for this, because it's... Look, hang on. Look, it's right there. It's literally right there. Just look at what you've done, and just... That sounds like something a mother would say. Look at what you've done! Look at what you've done, and just copy exactly what you've done on the front onto the back. And what we're then going to do is, we're then just going to fill in the side of the arm. So the side of the arm is quite explanatory. We just, well, semi-explanatory. The first 4 rows at the top of the arm want to be brown stained clay, and then the rest of the rows want to be white stained clay. So you want to come in that far down, 1, 2, 3, 4, with the brown stained clay. Rest of it wants to be white stained clay. And then we just want to fill the bottom of the hand in with white stained clay. And I believe that we'll also have the shoulder to fill in. Yep, we have the shoulder to fill in. We just have to add brown stained clay all the way up in there. And we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this. So Notch's left arm is idle, it's just kind of hanging by his side, but his right arm isn't. His right arm is holding a sword, it's out straight in front of him. So once you've got that taken care of, you now want to head all the way over to the opposite side of the statue, take each one of the top 2 corners of the arm, so these top 2 corners, and actually we don't want to do that. So this is what we want to do. Take the back left hand corner, this one right here, extend it out of the statue by 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to, coming towards us, we want to do a row of, we want to do 2 rows of brown, so that's 1 and 2, like that. We then go from left to right, want to do this. We want to do 1 white stained clay, 1 brown, 1 white, 1 brown, like so. We then want to do 8 rows of white stained clay coming towards us. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we've just got to fill those in. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc, etc. You guys already know. So you just want to do the 8 rows of white stained clay coming out in front. What we can then do is this. So we now just want to, coming all the way to the first row of the arm again, we want to take this first row and extend it down by 3 rows. So that's 1, 2, 3. Like so. What we then want to do is emulate what we have just above us. So you can see what we have above us. So we want to first of all do 1, 2 rows of brown. We then want to, starting from the left, do 1 white stained clay, 1 brown, 1 white, 1 brown. We then want to do 8 solid rows of white stained clay. So we're just going to add these rows in. I'm not counting them out because I can just copy what I have just above me. I'm just going to use that to measure instead of having to count it out once again. So we now have our 8 rows. What we can then do is, and we only have to do this on the left hand side really, on the outer part of the arm, you want to do 3 rows of brown coming down. So that's, or a row of 3 brown coming down, that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and then we can just fill the rest of the arm in its entirety, I believe, with white stained clay, because I think that on the opposite side, I think that the arm is covered, so, yeah, on the inside of the arm, just completely fill it in with white stained clay. None of his sleeves should be coming through, so we want to have something which should look like this, and that's essentially the exact same arm that we've just made on the opposite side, except of course guys, this arm is pointed out directly in front of him, because he's going to be holding a sword. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. We have to dump a couple of colours, guys. So, what colours can we get rid of? We don't need cyan stained clay anymore, and we don't need white stained clay either. Dump those, and grab yourself some dark oak planks, and grab yourself some... what did I use? It looks like I've used spruce wood planks. Then move the cyan wool much closer to each one of those 4 starting colours. So you want to have the cyan, you want to have block of diamond, and the planks together. Now, once you've got that sorted out, take out your cyan wool. And you can see at the end of the arm here where we have these 2 middle blocks. Well, pick one of the middle blocks, it doesn't matter which one, and extend it coming out in front by 2 of the cyan, but also extend it coming up by 2 as well. So we want to have that. So do that to either one of the 2 middle blocks. We have to do it to both later anyway. What you then want to do is take this upper second cyan block and do 2 upper left diagonals from it. That's 1, 2. Then go left of it by 1, down 1. Then do a bottom right diagonal, go down by 1, like so. What we then want to do is take the very same block that we did up left diagonals from, and from this block do 8 up right diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then go right by 2. Then down by 2. Then do 8 bottom left diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th bottom left diagonal would have been there, but we already extended it out with the cyan. What you now want to do from where that 8th bottom left diagonal would have been, so this block right here, you want to do 2 bottom right diagonals, that's 1 and 2. We then want to go down 1, then left 1, do an up left diagonal, go left 1, and that is pretty much the outline of the top bit of the sword, so that's kind of like the guard and the blade all the way there. Once you've got that taken care of, this is what you want to do next. So we now want to do the under part of the sword, which will be positioned in this row right here, and starting from like the end of the arm, so we're under this block, this is like where we started, like this is in the same position, except on the bottom where the sword starts on top, if you guys can follow my thinking. From this block, you want to go left by 2, that's 1 and 2, so you're on the third block coming in. You want to place a dark oak plank, you then want to do a bottom left diagonal with the plank, then take a bottom left diagonal with your cyan wall, go down 1, left 2, then up 2, right 1, then do an upright diagonal with your dark oak wood plank. Then fill the base of the sword in with block of diamond, fill the upper 2 parts with spruce wood planks, like so. So that is what you want to have, that is the handle of the sword. What we can now do is take out a block of diamond, and we can then just fill the upper part of the sword, the blade, the guard, completely fill that in with block of diamond. Now, once we've done this, we won't exactly be finished. We'll have a little bit left to do. So once you've completely filled like the first row of the sword in, so you can see that it's just on that like the inner part of the arm, what we can now do is add another row of the sword. So you can see that we have like this middle row. We want both of the middle rows to occupy the sword, just so it looks a little bit bigger. And what you basically just want to do is you just want to copy that row. You just want to copy the sword onto the other row. That's all you want to do. I don't know why I'm trying to say anything more than that. You just want the sword to occupy 2 rows. So just copy block for block the sword on top of the other row. So it's very, very easy to do. Doesn't really require any instruction, does it? You just want to copy block for block what you have for the sword onto this row, and then all I've got to do now is fill this in with block of diamond. That is the guard done, and now we've just got to do the blade, and we haven't got that much left to do. And once that's done, we can then admire our statue. So whoops, there we go, perfect. So what you want to have, guys, just to show you, you want to have something which should look a little bit like this, and that is a sword complete. And in finishing the sword, you've actually 100% fully completed the statue. That's all you had to do. Why don't I take off the UI, and why don't we actually take a look at this? So why don't we start from my favorite view? So this is the view that I think that the statue should be viewed in, and this is what the thumbnail is probably going to be taken from as well. So this, I think, perfectly sums up the statue. As you can see, Notch is stood over Herobrine triumphantly with the sword in his hand, and he's got a smile on his face. Herobrine not so much. And why don't we take a look at this thing? So hopefully you guys like this statue. I really liked it. It was really, really fun to make. Hopefully it was easy for you guys to make as well. I think that I've tried to make it as easy as possible. I always try to make things as easy as possible, and I think that this is an easy statue to make. I know that it looks complicated, I know that there's quite a bit going on, but hopefully you guys have managed to do this. Hopefully you guys have managed to make it no problem, because it's a really cool statue, or at least I hope it is. I really, really like this. If you guys have enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, a favorite, a share, anything you'd feel like doing to help me out, guys. I would really appreciate it. When I do different things like this, I always appreciate it if you guys can give these videos likes, favorites, shares, and also feel free to comment down below. What kind of videos do you want to see next? Do you want to see more stuff like this? I do have some more ideas for some alternate statues. Like, I've got some ideas. A weird statue that I even mentioned upon, kind of like, that I just thought of whilst we were building this. Like, Steve sleeping in a bed with like a wolf at the foot of his bed, I think would make a cool statue. Just little things like this, but feel free to recommend ideas. I'm more than open to them. Give this video a like, give it a favorite, give it a share. Feel free to check the description below for all of my tutorial playlists. Every single one of them is down there. But also, if you want to, feel free to check out the card system for more things like this. Just a couple of examples. I've got Steve riding a pig with a diamond sword in his hand. The saddle's there and everything. Very cool. I've got a chicken jockey statue. I've got a spider jockey statue. I've got some other statues that aren't even springing into my mind right now. I've got like a diamond armor Steve, gold armor Steve, an explorer Steve. Explorer Steve's cool. It's Steve with like a sword in his hand and a torch, and they're all very graphical, very cool. There's probably some others as well that I'm completely forgetting about, guys, but hopefully you guys like it. It came from one of your guys' suggestions, Notch versus Herobrine, and I think that this was a cool way to do it. You guys kind of just gave me the idea, and I made the statue. So like, favorite, share if you want to see more things like that. That's one of the most important things, guys. Like, favorite, share if you want to see more things like this. Also, again, comment down below, what do you want to see? I'm very interested in your guys' ideas. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.